MMA Boxing Talk here, coming at you with another video. This is a prediction video for Holm versus Miesha Tate, which is this Saturday at UFC 196. Holm, we all know, is the UFC Bantamweight Women's Champion. So she's going to be defending her title for the first time after beating Ronda Rousey. Now she's taking on, like I said, Miesha Tate, who, is a solid fighter. Before Holm became champion, you could argue that Miesha Tate was second best after Ronda Rousey for a number of years. In women's MMA, you could argue that Miesha Tate was number two. In women's MMA. Wow, obviously you got Cyborg. I guess in the UFC, how about? So anyway, Miesha Tate is 17-5. She's a good wrestler. She's very solid on the ground. She's tricky, very crafty with her submission attempts. Even in her first fight against Ronda, she took Ronda's back, I think, on 2 different occasions in the first round. So she's very good on the ground, and Holm doesn't want to spend too much time on the ground in this fight, but I'll get into that later. Now, Miesha Tate, very durable. She's very resilient. This is a very tough girl, woman, I should say. She's had fights. She's been in wars before. She knows what it takes. That's something that she has that Ronda didn't have coming into the fight. Ronda had never really been in a war. She had pretty well got all of her opponents out of there pretty easily via armbar. So Miesha Tate, she's ready for war, and she's been through it, so she's not afraid to go to battle. Now, another thing too, Miesha Tate, she's very good at mixing her striking with her wrestling. Mixing her striking with her takedowns, and using her striking to disguise her takedowns. Basically, she's good at that. She definitely poses different threats than Ronda did. So now moving on to Holm. She's 10-0 in MMA. She's a southpaw, tremendous striker. The best striker in women's MMA. If someone wants to argue that Cyborg is, I really disagree. Cyborg's mainly a puncher. She's not as accurate or crisp or as technical as Holm. And Holm's kicks are much better. She's got a lot of stoppages via head kick before the UFC. And obviously against Ronda Rousey. So amazing striker. She's got phenomenal footwork and head movement. A lot of that I'm sure she picked up from boxing so long. You got to remember, Holm is a former women's pro boxing champion. She's I believe she was a 5-time world champion in boxing, but I'm not even 100% sure. One of the greatest women's boxers. She's her record, I think, was 33-2. She had a very, very good career. She was champ for a while. I think she had a lot of title defenses as well. Loads of experience, obviously, and she's got about twice the amount of fights as Miesha Tate has. Miesha Tate has 25 fights, and in total, with amateur and pro, and Holm in total with all her fights combined, she has 56. So a lot more experience than Miesha Tate. Anyway, Holm, she's very strong. She's very she's in great physical shape. Okay, and you can just see by her physique. Very muscular. She's got a little 6-pack going there, she's a very tough girl to control because of her strength. So anyway, and another thing too, we know she's hard to control because Ronda Rousey's so good in the clinch and so good with her wrestling, and she couldn't manhandle Holm like she had in her past opponents, so easily. And actually Holm took Ronda down in that fight as well. So she's very strong. So now I want to talk about what Miesha Tate needs to do to win. Miesha Tate, she needs to make this an ugly fight. She's got to wrestle. She's got to try to wrestle with Holly Holm. She's got to try to take her down as much as she can, because she excels so much on the ground. Very crafty, like I said, with her submissions and submission attempts. So the longer this fight is spent on the ground, if it gets there, the better chance Miesha Tate gets. Miesha Tate has of getting a submission. So, she wants to, like I said, try to take her down as much as she can, make it an ugly fight. You put her against the cage, hold her up against the cage, and just make this a grindy fight. She needs to grind out Holly Holm, because I don't think she's gonna win a striking battle against Holly Holm. I'm almost positive Miesha Tate isn't gonna be able to do that. She's just not as talented on the feet. Her striking is just not as technical, not as crisp, not as creative. I feel it's more predictable too. Anyway, and she does she tends to bum rush her opponent, and just close that gap quickly, which can leave for huge openings. And now if you got Holly Holm, the best striker, could be countering all night long. Miesha Tate doesn't want to do that. She doesn't want to get into a striking battle. She needs to fight like DC, Daniel Cormier, or Randy Couture. That's the style. That's the game plan she needs to use in this fight to be successful. She needs to wrestle her, take her down, try to submit her, or grind her out at the very least. Cage work, clinch work, what have you. But Holly Holm, she needs to maintain her distance, use excellent footwork. She needs to use her footwork to establish good range throughout this fight. Keep Miesha Tate at the end of her jab. Another good way Holly Holm can keep that distance and keep that range is by using her kicks, specifically her oblique kicks. She uses her oblique kicks a lot against Ronda Rousey, which kept Rousey off, and it frustrates opponents, and it gets them off their rhythm and their timing. Now, Holly Holm, she's got an awesome straight left as well. So not just using her jab, she's got a powerful straight left with those oblique kicks. I mean, that's how she has to that's what she has to do to win this fight, because she doesn't want to spend most of this time on the ground with Miesha Tate. That's just not smart. So anyway, that's what both fighters need to do to win. Now, it's time for my prediction. I definitely got Holly Holm winning this fight. I'm just not sure if it's going to be a stoppage. It might be a stoppage. Could be a 5-round unanimous decision. But I really do think she's going to be victorious. Holly Holm, she's going to beat Miesha Tate. I think when it comes to Miesha Tate getting takedowns and things like that, and clinch work and trying to hold Holly Holm up to the cage, I don't think she's going to be strong enough physically to control Holly Holm for long periods of time through this fight. I mean, we saw Holly Holm against Ronda Rousey, who's very strong, especially when she's in close and she has a hold of you. She'd take all her opponents down at will. In the past, she didn't have her way with Holly Holm because she's so physically strong, and she's a very smart and technical fighter as well. So I just feel it's going to be tough for Miesha Tate to, win a 5-round decision against Holly Holm. I don't think she's strong enough to control her for 5 rounds. I just don't see it. Not to mention, she's got to get to Holly Holm first. Holly Holm, very, very good movement, great footwork. She's a hard target to hit or to get a hold of. She's got great counter striking ability. She's got her kicks. She's got her boxing. She's got her head movement. She is just going to be too much for Miesha Tate, I believe. And I just think Miesha Tate is she's a solid fighter. She's well rounded, but I think at the end of the day, the striking is leaps and bounds. Holly Holm striking so much better than Miesha Tate's, and I just think she's going to be victorious in this fight. But you never know what can happen. If Miesha Tate can have her way with Holly Holm and with the takedowns and the clinch work, she could possibly submit Holly Holm. But Holly Holm, she's got great stamina, cardio. She's very committed and dedicated to the sport, and I just don't see her tiring out. I don't see her being controlled by Miesha Tate for too long in this fight. And the much better striker. So that's my pick. If you like the video, subscribe. If you agree or disagree, comment in the section below. Tell me why Miesha Tate has what it takes to beat Holly Holm, if that's how you feel. But that's it for this one. MMA Boxing Talk. Peace.